Inquiring minds want to know, is Hamed a prince or a frog?
George, what's your hunch? Who has the psychological upper hand as the result of all that took place in the last 12 minutes?
Well, the prince is doing his thing. When another fighter starts to partake in it, he's at a disadvantage. And that's what happened. Kelley started to go into the wrong kind of stuff. He didn't need that.
He got into Naz's world. It'll be interesting to see if it diminishes him in any way.
He started to trash talk. The next thing you know, he'll start fighting trashing.
They're both southpaws, although with Naseem Hamed, it hardly matters. He will whirl and spring in the air. He'll throw punches at odd angles from either side. Kevin Kelley has an outstanding right jab. First hard punch of the fight is a straight right hand by Naseem.
And the first jab was landed by the Prince Hassim. Naseem, he landed the first jab. You don't want that.
And he lands two more. Naseem fighting more conventionally in the first minute of the fight than many of us had been led to expect.
You don't want to find yourself, if you're Kevin Kelley, waiting to see what he's going to do. You got to get out there, establish yourself on the pure basics. Jab, right hand hook, bob and weave. You don't want to get out there waiting.
Kelley has missed with most of his punches so far. Hamed has been able to land straight right hands. Now Hamed switches to a conventional stance.
Kelley, it seems, has a bad right eye. It seems to react as soon as it's touched by any punch.
Well, you saw the swelling in the Derek Gainer fight, the bad swelling on both eyes in the Alejandro Gonzalez fight. Kevin Kelley's had 50 pro fights, and he's been in too many wars for the taste of most of his supporters. They want to see Kevin box.
So far, Hamed has beaten Kelley to the punch with both hands.
The good thing about Kelley, the fight is on no matter what. If it goes into the 6th round, he still believes that I can get a knockout, so he's willing to waste a few rounds.
First 2 minutes of the fight, Hamed is a puzzle that Kelley is unable to solve. But down goes the Prince on Kelley's first serious landed punch. A looping right hand put Hamed down. Second time in his career he's been down in the first round. Puerto Rican Daniel Alisea was able to do it too. Also in the first round, but then Hamed came back to knock him out in the second.
We all were wondering what was going to happen when he caught a punch from Kelley. We saw it.
Yeah, Kelley believes in his power, so you'll never discourage him, even if his eyes are swollen, if he's cut.
Kelley just missed with a hard left hand. Hamed switches into a conventional stance. Kevin, for a couple of beats, was in a conventional stance himself. Now he goes back to his regular southpaw. Hamed switching from side to side as he faces the man who has floored him in the first round.
You gotta be focused for me. I need you to really slow your heart down. Water, I got that. Spit. Spit. You need to look at me. You need to really look at me. There's two things we gotta do.
Don't go looking for him. Just off your job. You'll hit him with your bombs, but keep your right hand. All right.
Now watch Hamed commit a cardinal sin in boxing, leaning back after throwing a flurry. Kelley was there and caught him. Can't do that with a top fighter. A little bit of hubris there, a little bit of overconfidence, thinking that it couldn't happen to him. It did.
Go, go, go.
CompuBox numbers show Kevin Kelley landed only 10 punches in the first round, but it only took one to do the damage which won him the round.
I think it was a wonderful feat by Naseem to be able to get knocked down and then have your opponent running from you at the end of the round. He got up and made Kelley run. Now they will get a good, powerful right jab by Kevin Kelley.
Strong jab, backs Naseem up, Naseem in the ropes. First time he's been in the ring with a fighter of Kevin Kelley's class. The wonderful thing coming into tonight was you knew that anything could happen. And one of the things that could happen would be that the Prince was exposed as a fraud. His gloves touch the canvas. The count begins. The second knockdown for Kelley. So one knockdown in each round now for Kevin Kelley.
Yeah, I think the last knockdown was fluke.
Kelley was down. I thought that was a knockdown, that Kelley should have been scored for a knockdown.
Benji Esteves waved it off and ruled it a slip. So it does not count as a knockdown against Kelley. Ahmed's been down twice. The knockdown, the apparent knockdown of Kelley ruled a slip. Hard right hand inside by Kelley.
The Prince has not seen this kind of power before.
Well, but Hamed is supposed to have power of his own with his quickness, and we haven't seen the evidence of that as yet.
I think the mistake he made,
there we
Hard
saw it, right there.
There's the power. There's the power you were talking about. And Kelley is stunned.
Hey, come on, baby.
And Hamed nods to him. Now we're in a fight.
Green bay, no. Watch that over. That's good.
And Kelley gets out of his boxing stance and decides to go to war. Now he settles back.
the more Naseem decides to be orthodox, the more trouble he gets himself into. So it's at his advantage to stay wild. Drop your hand, make this guy wait for you.
Kelley lands a hard chopping left and another. Naseem seemingly beginning to weather Kevin's punches a little bit better.
You can see Naseem is trying to get the rhythm to Kelley, and he's not able to do that.
Dropping his hands, switching from side to side. Now he goes back into a boxing stance.
5 seconds.
Round 2 is going to come to a close, having seen knockdowns for each fighter.
We don't see this very often in one round, a fighter getting knocked down twice. You saw that Kelley landed a left and then a right. The first one was a knockdown. The referee was a little late getting in as he got up again. But he did bounce up, give him that, and they're flush on the jaw. Kelley, like Junior Jones, his pal in the first fight, got a little cocky with his power, left himself open, and caught one from Hamed.
And that's what was ruled a slip right there, Larry.
Seconds out.
It could have been ruled a knockdown. It wasn't.
right
Turned out okay. On my scorecard, Hamed won that round because even though they split knockdowns, his knockdown was more convincing and he landed more punches in the rest of the round.
Naseem is getting hit with punches. He's causing himself to be off balance by throwing his head back and forward. But the knockdown that Kelley received was a true knockdown, not off balance, pure power.
Well, Naseem breaks so many rules of textbook boxing, it's as though he not only hasn't read the book, he hasn't looked at the table of contents. Leans his head back, ducks from side to side, trying to get away from punches. Takes a hard left from Kelley there. And lands a hard right hand of his own.
That was power by Naseem.
Well, one time he's going to leap too often and he may leap right into a Kelley punch, and that would be it. As Phil Borges said, if he leaps, he sleeps.
Kevin Kelley's got true power. He's real accurate with his straight left hand.
Oh, when you're fighting against a powerful, good boxer like Kevin who has good balance, you better watch your own balance. And bad balance contributed to that second Kelley knockdown of Hamed in round 2. Now Kevin starting to try to establish the straight right jab.
That was a good jab by Kevin Kelley that did some damage.
Kelley lands a left cross. Hamed ducking, sliding along the ropes. Not throwing as many punches in this round. Hamed seeming to have gone into a little bit of a caution state here as the result of the damage that Kevin Kelley's been able to do.
Yeah, it's the jab by Kevin Kelley that's being most effective now. If he just maintained that right jab, he can make this an easy fight.
And as we pointed out, that's another thing Phil Borgia said. He said, my man has the better jab and the longer reach. How's Hamed going to get past that? In other fights, he's had his ways. He hasn't been in with anybody as good as Kevin Kelley.
Hamed seems to see dropping his hands in there is not getting him any advantage. So dropping those hands with Kelley can call good night. Got to keep your hands up with a guy like Kelley.
Right now, Hamed seems less unorthodox than just confused on how to break through Kelley's guard.
They trade right hands. Kevin's was the harder of the two. Good left uppercut by Prince Naseem. Right hand lands again as well. Naseem starting to come out of his shell and get more aggressive again.
You want to say to Naseem, stop pulling back with your head, but then you lose the total fighter.
You wanted to say that to Muhammad Ali, too.
Yeah, but you lose the total fighter because they do what they do. It makes them so good.
Let's go. Face that way. Sit down. Sit down. Good boxing. Look at me.
You're not listening.
If you don't use your jab and if you don't move your head, we're going to run into difficulties, and I don't want that. What we worked on to get this guy out of here was our tempo. Correct? Gotcha. When you're hunting a peanut, think what you did to Craig. Think what you did to Flat Top. Think what you did to Judah. Think all these things, how you let them hands go. Why all...
Bang, step back, bang, step out. You get him up. You got me? Just don't get in a war with him. Pick him off. You will gradually break him up off your jab.
Yeah.
Just bing, bing. Bang, then come back with it. Got me? You break him up on it. He's had his fun now. He's had his fun. You start giving it to him.
So now it's Brendan Ingle, Prince Naseem's trainer ever since he saw him on a schoolyard when he was 7 years old, asking his fighter not to get into a war. He wants him to pick Kelley off with his jab. Ping, ping.
That's not an easy thing to do. When you're fighting a boxer with a jab, you almost have to war. Get into a war. Kelley's got a good left jab, right jab.
He sure does. Naseem lands a couple power punches. Kevin Kelley lands a hard left hand. Kelley misses with the right and misses wildly with the right, but Naseem not in a position to counter either time. Hard left hand up top by Prince Naseem Hamed.
Okay? Watch the head. Let's go. Watch that elbow.
Seems that Kevin Kelley is getting the best of the counter punching. You would expect the opposite.
They trade in short bursts and flurries. Naseem landing more accurately in this round than has been the case before, but taking some leather in return. Down goes Kelley on two hard left hands.
6, 7, 8, back up.
Now they're even. Both fighters down twice in the fight.
Ooh, a good
Blistering
straighten up
right hand by Hamed. Kelley a little slow to respond here.
You got to be careful mixing up with Kelley because he can fight.
That's going to be ruled a knockdown as Naseem's glove grazed the canvas. So there's the count for that. Third knockdown of Hamed by Kelley, and the Naseem advocates in the crowd boo that. Hard left hand by Kelley, and a right hand shot. Leaping right hand by the Prince, and a hard left, and Kelley's down for the third time.
Whoa! 6, 7, 8, 9.
He's got a half a minute, and he is
gone.
definitely hurt.
He's
and the
for real.
fight is over.
He's for real. The Prince is for
Unbelievable
real.
punching power, George.